Alright guys, hey, we did a questionnaire this morning that basically said what would you like to have training on, and list 3 things. So one of those things was tell us about the chemicals and kind of how they work. So I figured that was important for you guys to know, so that's what I'm going to tell you about today. So as you can see behind me, we've got a ton of chemicals. We're going to go through what those chemicals are, what they do, how they work, and hopefully you guys will have a better understanding when we're done. And we're going to do this probably once a week, where I'll send a video out. You guys can review it, and then if you have any questions, you can get back with me. So let's go ahead and start. So the first chemical I have is called crystal defoamer. Crystal defoamer, it's a chemical made by ChemSpec. What this chemical is for, it's basically a chemical that we'll put down on carpet that's very soapy. So our trucks don't like soap. So if we're vacuuming and we vacuum up a lot of like Dawn dish detergent that the customers put in the carpet themselves, the trucks will lose vacuum. And if they lose vacuum, that means we don't clean as well. So this is a powder. They will sprinkle this powder on the floor, and this powder basically attracts all of the soap, and the soap sticks to it and it clumps up, and then we're able to suck the soap out in a big clump instead of being a liquid and being bubbly, so we lose vacuum. So that's very important on jobs where people are DIYers and they think that they can clean the carpet themselves or spot treat themselves. A lot of times we have to use that product in order to get the carpet clean without bogging our machine down. So the next chemical is going to be Pet Zone. It's a odor and stain eliminator. So Pet Zone is a powder. It's an alkaline on the pH scale. Basically what we do is we mix up 3 or 4 scoops of that to 2 gallons of water. It's going to be a very foamy product. We then, what we call it, flooding the carpet. So we flood the carpet till it gets down into the padding, and then we use what's called a water claw, and we stand on top of the water claw, and the pressure of a grown man standing on the water claw pulls all of the urine out of the padding through the back into the carpet and out into our truck. This chemical also has what's called a hydrocide. A hydrocide will sterilize the padding as well as help the padding dry. So this is a $50 product, and it could go up from there depending on what the severity is, how many spots we have to treat. But that is one of our pet treatments that we offer that is a $50 pet treatment. And we'll kind of get into the enzyme treatment a little later, but I want to go through the row of chemicals and then we'll get to that. So the next chemical is Deodorizers. So we actually have 2 deodorizers. They're both made by New Line. One is a citrus, which is an orange smell, and the other one is linen, which is like a fresh laundry smell. We understand that people don't like the same smells. That's why we carry 2 different smells. A deodorizer is exactly what it says. It deodorizes. It tricks your brain into smelling something good versus bad. So if the dog went to the bathroom on the floor, we can spray deodorizer, and this will trick the receptors into your brain to smelling oranges or linen versus smelling whatever the dog left on the floor. This product usually evaporates in 24 to 48 hours. We use it a lot for apartments, and we also use it for residential houses. It does not counteract the odor. It doesn't do anything for the odor except for make the carpet and the house smell good. So the good thing about that is you may have a carpet that has a lot of spots. If you spray a little bit of deodorizer, the customer can smell that, and because they smell it fresh, they also assume that we cleaned it the best that we could. So we do use it in those type of situations where the carpet's really bad, we've done the best we could do, we spritz a little deodorizer, and the customer thinks we did a good job because it's a fresh smelling carpet. So this is great for apartments, it's great for residential houses and commercial alike. I believe you guys sell it for $15 a room through Camelot. And again, it's much like a Febreze. It's going to mask the smell, but it's not going to eliminate the smell. The next chemical we have is Advantage Pause. This is a pet alkaline urine salt eliminator. So PAUSE, pet alkaline urine salt eliminator. So basically what this chemical does, it's a very, very strong chemical. We use it a lot for If you've got cats, so cat spray, cat vomit, cat urine, a lot of times cats want to go in corners or up next to walls. And this stuff is great at knocking that out. So it goes into the carpet, it looks for the bacteria, and it actually kills the bacteria that's in the carpet. So once you kill the odor-causing bacteria, then you have no more odor, and you don't have to worry about a customer calling back and saying that the carpet, smells like cats or urine or spray. The next product we have is called New Fab. New Fab is used on almost every pet job. New Fab is a really cool chemical. It has 3 major functions. So it's a counteractant, which means it tries to counteract the odors that are in the carpet. It also has an encapsulation and bonding property to it, which means that when you spray it onto the carpet, it goes in, it looks for bacteria, and it actually puts a bubble around that bacteria, and then that bubble hardens and crystallizes. Once that bubble crystallizes, the odor-causing bacteria is inside of it. It can't eat, it can't move, it can't breathe. The odor-causing bacteria dies because it has nothing to feed on, and then you're able to eliminate the smell. So I would say that this one is more for cats. The pause is more for cats, and this is more geared towards dogs and any other type of animal. The next chemical that we use is called All Fiber Rinse. This is also a Pro-Chem chemical. It's a 4.5 on the pH scale, which means it's an acid. The reason that we use this is most guys run it through their truck. And when I say run it through their truck, they have a chemical jug on the truck. The chemical mixes with the steam that comes into the house. And because it's an acid, I'll explain to you why we actually have it. So all of our chemicals here are mostly alkalines. Our pre-sprays are alkalines. Your carpet should be neutral, like a 7 on the pH scale. When we go in and we pre-spray it, we jack the pH up to like a 10, 12, 13, 14 sometimes. And when you get a really high alkaline, that's when customers complain that A, the carpet browned, or B, that the carpet feels stiff and rigid, and it almost feels like there's residue on it. So if you run this chemical through, this is an acid rinse. So this will bring the carpet back down from a 13 or a 14 pH back down to a 7. It leaves the carpet feeling very, very soft, and it also gets rid of all the alkalines that are in the carpet. So you jack the alkaline up to clean it, you put an acid rinse in it to bring the alkaline back down to make it very soft again, and that's what this chemical is for. If the carpet does brown out because of overwetting, because we raised the pH too high, this chemical is also what we use for brownout. So we put a little bit of this chemical in a jug, spray it on the spot, and you can literally watch the brown spot disappear in front of your eyes when an acid hits it. And then we go down to the next 2 that I'm going to talk about. So most of our chemicals are water-based. They're safe for animals, they're safe for kids, they're safe for families to be around. The next 2 chemicals are not. These are called volatile solvents. I've got paint, oil, and grease remover. This is exactly what it is. It removes paint, oil, and grease. If you've got a latex paint, as long as you keep the paint wet, this chemical will get it out. If the paint dries and it bonds to the fiber, good luck, you're not going to get it out. But as long as we tell them to put a damp cloth, put it over top of the paint till we get there, and the paint has some moisture in it, this stuff should work. Another good thing for this is if there's a husband and he's working on his car out in the garage, or he's working on his lawnmower and he gets grease or oil on his shoes and tracks it inside, and there's little black spots all over the carpet. Or underneath chairs, like if you move a rocking chair and you have the oil from the 2 legs for the rocking chair, this stuff is amazing at getting those spots out. The next one is called Citrus Solve. Citrus Solve is probably the most dangerous chemical that we carry if not used correctly. So what this chemical will do is it's a citrus and it's a solvent. So it will literally eat away at whatever you put it on. So this is very good for chewing gum. It's good for hard candy. It's good for glue that's on carpet. So a lot of times people will put tape on their carpet, maybe in a playroom downstairs where the kid has a basketball hoop, and they put a piece of tape down showing the foul shot line. When they pull that tape up, it leaves the adhesive on the carpet, and this will eat that up right away. The only disadvantage to this is you want to spray this on a rag or dump it on a rag and then wipe the carpet. You should never take this stuff and squirt it directly on the carpet. And the reason being is it will delaminate your carpet, which means it'll melt the backing, and then all the fibers will start to pool out. So you could really ruin somebody's carpet if you don't know what you're doing using this product. But our guys have all been trained through IICRC, and they all have used this for a long time, so they know exactly how to use it. So if a customer was to ask you, I would say that all of our chemicals are safe for animals and pets. I would say we do have 1 and 2 that we very rarely take off the truck that you might want to watch out for. So if you've got chewing gum on the floor or candle wax that you want us to try to get out, then we would use a volatile solvent. The good news is, because it's a solvent, it evaporates very, very quickly. It just does have properties that will eat away at the glue in the carpet. The next chemical we have is also a pretty cool chemical called red wine. Traditionally, you had a 2-part mixture of ammonia, and you would mix the 2 chemicals together. You would put it on the spot, and then you would take a white towel and put down and take an iron and heat the iron up, and it was called a heat transfer. You would transfer the red dye from the carpet to the white rag. This chemical stops that from happening. So you can come into a house, you can put red wine down, wait 10 or 15 minutes, clean the spot, and the red spot, if it's going to come out, it will come out. Not every red spot's going to come out. If you've got a Kool-Aid spot from 10 years ago and you've walked on it and you've spilled other spots on it and you've tried to use your own cleaners, you've probably set that stain in. But if it just happened within the last 24 to 48 hours, your child spills red Kool-Aid, you come in, put some of this on it, let it sit for 10 minutes, clean it out, and the spot's gone. So this is kind of a new technology that's just come out that we carry. And then the next chemical is called T-Rust. This is also kind of a really neat concept. T-Rust is a rust remover. So what this is going to do is it's going to make the rust invisible. So when you spray this on the rust, it actually oxidizes the rust and gets rid of the brownish color and turns it clear. So you're not actually pulling the rust out of the carpet. It's impossible to do. But if you can oxidize the rust, then it'll go away, and people don't visibly see it with their eye, so they believe that you're a miracle worker because you're able to get the rust out of the carpet. So that's what this does. And then we have 2 more chemicals or spotters that we use. One is called Tannin. So this is a general coffee and brown spot remover. This does not mean it's going to remove every brown spot. People don't understand that there are differences in coffee. So if it's a Brazilian bean versus a Colombian bean, one is going to be a very dark, rich bean, and one's going to be a very light bean. And those have different ways of coming out of the carpet. If it's decaffeinated or regular coffee, also is a variable whether it'll come out of the carpet or not. So because of all the coffees that are made nowadays, being Colombian and South American and Venezuelan, it's really, really hard to find one chemical that will get rid of all of them, but this is a general treatment for coffee and brown removing. It doesn't mean it's going to work on everything, but it does have a good shot at getting most lighter bean coffees out of carpet as long as they're fresh. Again, if it's a coffee spot from 10 years ago, it's probably not going to budge because the brown in the bean will actually dye the fiber much like a red dye would dye the fiber, and then at that point you can't extract the spot out. It's damage to the carpet itself. And our last chemical that we're going to talk about behind me is protein spotter. Protein spotter is a really good spotter. We use this primarily for blood removal. So blood is a protein, and this will clean blood up out of carpet. You can also use this in residential and commercial applications. So if you were carrying a plate of eggs, bacon, and ham, and that all came off the plate and hit the floor, this would be the chemical that you use because eggs are a protein. You can spray this down and this will get those spots out of the carpet. So again, primarily for blood, but it is used in commercial and residential applications. So I know we talked a little bit about our pet treatments up here. So I want to talk about a couple more chemicals, one being our enzyme treatment. So an enzyme treatment comes in a 5-gallon pail just like this. It is a powder and it does have an enzyme which is a live microorganism inside of the powder. That enzyme or organism stays dormant until you add water. Once you add hot water, that organism becomes alive and it lives for 24 to 48 hours. So when we have an enzyme treatment for a carpet, that means that a dog used the restroom. What this is going to do is the organism is going to go into the carpet, it's going to search for any odor-causing bacteria, and it's going to feed and eliminate that bacteria. So I know it's kind of gross to think about that you have little organisms crawling through your carpet, but that's exactly what this chemical does, and it's very, very effective. So depending on how bad the carpet is, sometimes we'll pre-spray with Enzol, and then we'll come through with either a pause or a new fab, and then we'll top it off with a deodorizer. So that's why you see variable prices depending on severity in different rooms, on what the tech sees when he actually gets to the house. And then the last product I want to talk about for carpet is called Clean Green. Clean Green is our general pre-spray. It comes in a bucket just like this, 5-gallon bucket. It's a green powder. You add 2 or 3 scoops to 2 gallons of water. And Clean Green is very important for a couple reasons. Number one, it's a pH of 10, so it is an alkaline. And it has surfactants in it, so it's a really heavy surfactant chemical. So surfactants are basically molecules that are in the chemical that are very, very slippery. So when we spray this down on the carpet, it's going to do 2 things. It's going to make the carpet slippery so our wand moves across it a lot easier. And then number 2, it's going to cause what we call soil suspension. So soil suspension is where we spray the chemical down, the chemical goes into the diacites or the pores on your skin, and it pushes the dirt out into the top of the fiber, and it actually suspends that dirt in a liquid. So as we go through and clean, our pressure will blow that dirt off, and then our vacuum will suck it out onto the truck. And that's really the theory behind steam cleaning, is you spray a chemical down, you suspend the soil and your solution, and then you, with pressure and steam, extract it out, and it goes out onto your truck and you take it away. And then these chemicals are for certain spots that you will encounter while you're inside the house. So another 2 chemicals I want to talk about is going to be Viper Venom and Viper Renew. Viper Venom is a 14 on the pH scale, and Viper Renew is an acid at only 1 on the pH scale. So anytime that you're cleaning carpet, tile and grout, anything that you're cleaning, you always want to clean with an alkaline, because alkalines are cleaners. Acids are always brighteners. So if you go into a house and you clean with an acid, you're not going to see much difference. But if you clean with an alkaline first, you'll see that wow factor between a really dark colored grout and a light colored grout. So clean with an alkaline first, and then go through and rinse it with an acid if you need to afterwards. Like I said, the alkaline is Viper Venom, and the acid is Viper Renew. If you've got natural stone, so you've got let's say marble or travertine or slate, you cannot clean with an acid at all, and you really don't want to clean with an alkaline. You want to use a neutral cleaner. So we also have a chemical called Viper 7. Viper 7 just means that it's neutral. It's not going to hurt the marble or the slate that it's on. So being that it's a neutral cleaner, you're not raising or lowering the pHs, so you don't get any of the white haze that's on the floor, and you don't dissolve anything in like slate or shale. You could actually dissolve the rock itself. So Viper Venom is great for porcelain and ceramic, Viper 7 for natural stone, and then Viper Renew again for porcelain or ceramic, but you want to use that afterwards because it's to brighten the grout lines up after you've cleaned it. So we've went over basically all of the chemicals that we use. Defoamer, Pet Zone, we have 2 citrus, or 2 deodorizers, a citrus and a linen, depending on what people think and what they smell and what they like. We've got Pause for pets, New Fab, which is for pets, All Fiber Rinse, which again is to bring down the pH of the carpet. And then we've got POG, Citrus Solve, Red One, T-Rust Rust Remover, coffee remover, and protein/blood remover.